Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going behind the scenes, really, into the world of emergency services. We're going to share some firsthand accounts from dispatchers, from police officers, the people answering calls that are, well, frankly, terrifying. These aren't just reports of incidents, they're real stories. Intense moments of crisis, resilience, and sometimes just unbelievable horror. You'll hear what it's actually like being on the other end of that 911 line or arriving first at a scene you just can't forget.
Yeah, and it's so important to grasp the sheer psychological weight these professionals carry. The pressure is unique. They're often the first point of contact, sometimes the last, in someone's worst nightmare. They're right there dealing with raw human drama as it happens. It's an emotional burden that's hard to imagine unless you're in it.
Okay, let's start with one that really stands out. It's from a 911 dispatcher, nearly 11 years on the job. She mentioned therapy, sleepless nights, but said only one call truly haunted her. The Ashland Jane Doe case. And she shared something chilling. She said, screamers on a call are bad, obviously, but the absolute worst, the whispers.
Whispers?
Yeah, whispers mean grave danger, like immediate. The caller's being hunted, basically. The person threatening them is right there. Terrifyingly close.
Wow.
So this call gets transferred to her, and the girl's voice is calm, like unnervingly calm. She just whispers, I've been abducted.
Yeah.
Matter of fact. The dispatcher's heart just sank. The location sounded hopeful at first, near a laundromat, a busy area, but then the girl says, no, I'm in the bedroom with him.
Oh, no.
Dispatch asks, does he have a weapon? Got a taser? She whispers back. Still weirdly calm. Is she hurt? A little. But her whisper by then had sounded haunted, almost half insane from the stress. Dispatch asks if she can get out quietly. I don't know, she whispers, and now you hear the fear breaking through. I'm scared, just numb with fear. Then suddenly, I think I woke him. I think I woke him up. Silence on the line. The dispatcher's just holding her breath. Then one last whisper. How much longer?
Just incredible pressure. Relying only on those whispers. How do they even process that level of auditory detail under stress? In this case specifically, it shows that burden of imagination they carry. Because later, we found out the abductor, Sean Michael Gray, he'd already murdered 2 other women. Stacey Stanley and Elizabeth Griffith. And even more chilling, he told police he wasn't planning to kill Jane Doe. He was going to marry her.
Oh, God.
So imagine being that dispatcher. You know the girl was saved, thank God. But then you learn what was planned for her. That lingering thought, imagining the horrific life she might have had as his captive bride if she hadn't managed to call for help. That's a heavyweight.
Yeah, that's hard to even contemplate. Sends shivers down your spine. Okay, moving from that unseen threat, let's talk about a horror that was hiding in plain sight. This comes from a UK police officer talking about a Halloween night he dreads remembering. He said he really hates Halloween on the job. Okay. Not the fun stuff, but because it just brings out the absolute worst in people. Calls spike massively. He even mentioned getting calls complaining about Halloween decorations being too scary.
Right, the usual nuisance calls mixed in with the serious stuff.
Exactly. So this one Halloween, he gets sent to this house on Jefferson Street. Multiple calls about the decorations. He gets there, and it's elaborate. Vampires, zombies, fake cobwebs, pumpkins everywhere. Standard stuff, but a lot of it. But the main thing people were calling about was this figure hanging from a big oak tree at the side of the house. His first thought, his logical police brain, was it had to be fake. Looked too rigid, hair seemed artificial, skin was purplish and blotchy like a corpse. But it was too graphic, too over the top to be real.
Right, you'd assume it was just part of the display.
Yeah. But then he got closer. Just a few more steps, and then he smelled it, that sickly sweet smell of death. It wasn't a prop. It was a real body. Richard Dodd, 71 years old, a retired teacher, he'd taken his own life hanging there all day.
That's profoundly disturbing. The thought that hundreds of people, kids trick-or-treating, walked past a real suicide, thinking it was just a decoration. What does that say about how we filter reality? And for the officer, that switch from assuming it's a fake, maybe even rolling your eyes at the call, to realizing it's a profound tragedy, that cognitive shift must be incredibly jarring.
It really makes you think. Reality being so much worse than any horror decoration. Yeah. And often these stories leave responders without answers, just lingering questions.
Yeah.
Like this next one from Hurricane Katrina. This is from a young 911 operator in Mobile, Alabama. Very idealistic about public service. But Katrina hit, and their center started getting calls routed from New Orleans, from the Mississippi coast, because the local centers were just overwhelmed or destroyed.
A massive overload. Unimaginable conditions.
Completely. And she took this one call. Heartbreaking. A woman trapped in her single-story home in New Orleans. floodwaters rising fast. The operator tried everything, finding escape routes, routing the call elsewhere. But the lines were dead. Hurricane had knocked everything out. She tried to keep the woman calm, just talking. The woman was incredibly selfless, worrying about elderly relatives. She even joked, about climbing into the attic with snacks, saying might as well eat the leftovers if the fridge was ruined anyway.
While trying to maintain some normalcy in the face of death.
But then the panic inevitably hit. Her voice got short, breathless. Water was seeping into the attic through the floorboards. The operator realized, stunned, the only way out was the roof. She told her, find something heavy, bash through the tiles. She heard grunting, cursing on the line for minutes. And the woman cried out, I can't do it. I can't fit through the vent either. What am I going to do? Just shouting, crying, water up to her ankles in the attic, losing hope. The operator just promised to stay on the line, listen to her cry, pray, struggle to keep her head and phone above water. And then the line just went dead.
That's what we call ambiguous loss in responders, carrying the weight of not knowing the final outcome. Unlike a clear resolution, good or bad, that lack of closure is. It's a uniquely corrosive burden, makes processing the trauma incredibly hard. But the compassion shown there, just staying on the line, knowing the odds were terrible, it really speaks volumes about their dedication, pushing themselves right to the limit.
That not knowing.
Yeah,
that must be one of the heaviest things to carry. Let's shift gears slightly, still in the UK. Another police officer's story. This one about, hidden human drama. He talked about how exhausting the job is, minimal sleep. But one missing persons report just didn't sit right with him. He got suspicious of the husband reporting his wife missing. Just a gut feeling he was holding something back.
Intuition, even when exhausted.
Exactly. So they start digging. Turns out the wife had a history of domestic violence, but directed at her son, not the husband. Then the officer finds her medication containers, antidepressants, mood stabilizers, and an insulin kit. That confirms she's diabetic. Without her meds, especially insulin, she's in serious danger. The husband went white when they found the meds, confirmed she'd left them all behind. The officer, feeling uneasy, sleep-deprived, pounding headache, decided to check the bed more thoroughly. He turned over the husband's pillow, and there it was, a note, a suicide note from the wife, explaining she intended to end her life, apologizing for being a burden. The husband had been sleeping on it, completely unaware.
Wow, that police intuition, cutting through the fatigue, it was critical there. It really highlights those silent battles people face, hidden even from their closest family. And then having to deliver that news, finding the note under the pillow he was sleeping on, the sheer emotional complexity of that situation for the officer, it's immense. It's so much more than just chasing criminals.
Definitely. That human element is always there. Okay, next story takes us to a small, rural American town. Really highlights the isolation deputies can face working alone, back up, miles away. Started as a routine welfare check. An ex-husband, his former wife, reported some strange calls, erratic behavior.
Standard procedure, but in an isolated setting.
Right. So the deputy drives out there, rundown house, deep in the woods. As he walks up to the front door, his radio crackles. It's dispatch. But they're relaying a message from the ex-husband inside the house. He'd called them the message. Terrifying. He said he had his Remington 700 rifle aimed squarely at the back of their head, warning the deputy to get off his property. The deputy just froze. He remembers looking back into the pitch black woods, didn't dare use his flashlight. Any movement, any light could be misinterpreted. He couldn't see a thing, just trees in the moonlight. But he knew somewhere out there in the dark was a man with a rifle pointed at him. A trigger pull away from death. He forced himself to stay calm, backed away slowly to his patrol car. But he said the feeling of someone rushing up behind him as he got to the car, it was this sickening jolt. He jumped in and just floored it, got away from what felt like certain death.
That perfectly captures the unseen threat responders constantly face. And psychologically, that kind of threat, direct but invisible, can be even more terrifying than facing someone head on. That utter vulnerability, knowing you're a target but having no idea where the shot might come from, it's profound. And even though it turned out he was bluffing at that exact moment, they did find a loaded Remington 700 in the house later when he surrendered. So the threat was absolutely real. It's a constant gamble. The mental agility required, especially alone, it's staggering.
Incredible composure needed, absolutely. Now, for something different, we're heading to central London. A call that started as domestic abuse involving FGM, female genital mutilation, which is the ritual cutting or removal of external female genitalia, a horrific practice. This officer said it was their first FGM case, and the investigation led them to search a house that revealed, much more than expected.
Okay, so deeper layers unfolding.
Way deeper. The search team enters this dark, dingy house. Walls covered in strange symbols, pictograms, animal tails nailed to the kitchen wall, skulls nearby, which the officer assumed belonged to the tails. Then they found ritualistic items. A pair of cow tongues tied together with yarn, frozen solid, with a nail hammered right through them. They emptied the fridge and found these small foil-wrapped balls. Turned out to be limes, sliced in half, with tiny scribbled notes hidden inside. But the most unsettling thing, a social worker involved in the case found a glass jar. Inside was her photo, scratched out, doused in ashes, with a tiny cut across the image's throat.
Good grief, what did they make of all that?
Well, luckily, there was a Nigerian officer on the search team. He recognized it immediately. Voodoo, witchcraft. He explained the belief spirits of the dead living among us. The tongues, a defense against liars or people speaking against them. The limes, wards against evil spirits. And the glass jar with the photo that was meant to be a grave. A symbolic ritual expressing a wish for the death of the person in the picture.
Wow, it really pushes the boundaries of understanding, doesn't it? It shows the immense challenge for officers when they encounter beliefs and practices completely outside their own experience. It's not just law enforcement, it's navigating deeply disturbing cultural or ritualistic elements. Encounters like that must leave a profound, lasting impression. The sheer emotional and psychological complexity is off the charts.
Absolutely. A stark reminder of the hidden, sometimes very dark, aspects of human belief. Okay, let's bring it towards a close with one last story. This one's from a Maryland police officer, 18 years on the force. He said the calls that disturb him most, the ones that really stick, are when the victim is just overwhelmingly innocent, like an animal. He talks about one call from 2015 that just made his blood boil, a report of a man strangling 2 pit bull puppies on a public sidewalk.
Oh no, that's horrific.
He gets to the scene, and it's exactly as reported. Sees the man, a puppy in each hand, just squeezing. The little body's writhing. He immediately draws his taser, shouting at the guy to let them go. The man just ignores him, muscle straining, completely focused on killing them. Backup arrives. Officers are just as furious. They try to restrain the man, but he has that terrifying drug-fueled strength. The officer uses the taser. Nothing. No effect. The man just clamps down harder, threatening to crush the puppies right there. Multiple officers are wrestling with him now. Finally, one puppy, tan-colored, is pulled free. A passerby grabs its limp body. They're screaming at the guy to release the second one, a black puppy, knowing it's seconds away from having its life crushed out. It took 2 more officers arriving, but they finally wrestled the second pup free and got the guy cuffed. Both puppies, later named Mia and Chance, were critical. Severe trauma. Chance, the tan one, had badly damaged lungs filled with blood, vomiting. But with the best vet care, both pulled through. And the officer who told the story, he ended up adopting Chance. Says he's now a beloved part of the family.
That really hits hard. You feel the officer's rage, the desperation. It shows the deep emotional toll crimes against the innocent take, especially animals who are completely defenseless. But it also shows incredible resilience. The puppies surviving that, the officers refusing to give up. And finding that positive outcome, Chance getting a loving home with the officer who helped save him. Sometimes, unexpected blessings can come from truly dark moments. It's a testament to compassion.
It really is. So as you've heard today, behind every single emergency call, there's a real person living their absolute worst moment. And on the other end, or arriving at the scene, there's another person, dedicated, often quiet, stepping into that chaos to help. These stories, they show the hidden depths of what people endure and the incredible quiet courage of those who run towards the danger, not away from it.
It definitely makes you pause and consider the resilience of the human spirit, doesn't it, facing such adversity, and the critical role these responders play, that thin line between chaos and safety that they hold, often unseen, unthanked. Just think about all the stories we don't hear, the burdens carried in silence, the small acts of bravery happening every single day.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into some truly unsettling but important experiences. We hope these stories gave you some insight. If you found this impactful, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Docx. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.